Hello and welcome to the developer overview.
Ryan.
This time we don't have Jason, we have Ryan in the house. First card,
Hello.
which is Lieutenant von Hurst. Horde 5 at the end of your turn. Spawn a Firesworn Zealot in this row. If you want, transform a Firesworn Zealot into a Flaming Rose Footman.
That's sick.
And for those of you who don't know
Quality
what
card.
is a Flaming Rose Footman, here is a reminder.
So if you've got
This
5
guy,
coins
3
and he's on the
power,
board, he
he's
spawns
doomed and
a
he
Zealot,
has
which is really
1
good.
shield on him. Only 1 shield.
I think that's a pretty interesting card because
Go back to
as
Yvonne.
we know, Firesworn Zealots have
This is a great
2
card,
power,
man.
So you basically pay
1 armor,
1,
4 power's not great,
fee
admittedly.
for the gaining of 1 power and 1 armor.
But at worst, he's playing
I'm
for
not sure
6.
They can
If left unanswered, he's
benefit
great.
from the armor as much, but obviously helps against row punishment effects, like for example.
Because there's another card that does the same thing as this, right?
So
Another
I think
card does
it's
this,
a-
but
it's a
you
handy
could
tool.
spend the fee, right?
And,
You
we
could
shouldn't
hoard it
forget
and
that
spend
he
a coin.
also
It's pretty,
has
yeah, it's
the,
pretty good,
Price
man.
One, category. So
It's cool to have cards that require coins in
After him,
Firesworn,
we
because
have
otherwise you could.
Roderick the Wet. Or the Vet. I always mix those up. And he has Veal. And for those that don't
Veal.
remember,
his status.
Looks like
and
me.
the status, exactly.
He's
So
not that
he has
handsome.
that.
He does look
has
a little bit
Zeal,
like me.
Order, melee, spawn a Flaming Rose Footman in the row, in this row. At the end of your turn, if order is not used, gain 1 coin. Ryan, what can you tell us more about this card?
I really like these,
Spawn a Flaming Rose Footman in this row. At the end of your turn, if order is not used, gain a coin. Okay, so he gains a
It creates
coin.
mind game between leaving this possible
This is
engine
good.
on the board. So if you don't use the order, you gain 1 coin every turn. So the opponent wants to shut it down, but you can.
Is it really
you can
worth it?
play
Like,
around
1
and,
coin?
maybe have multiple engines in your deck, and
Like,
it's a mind game between.
for
which
5
card your
provisions, you
opponent
could
has to
have.
let go, and,
It's alright.
when you want to
Yeah,
use
it's
that
cool.
order.
This is a
So
cool card,
I think
man.
it's pretty cool.
It's
also
not
the card art. I really
something
hate this
I'd
person
probably
already.
use. I
I
guess
love it.
Yeah,
they probably have a lot of things that need to get removed, but
you get away, lady. What do you want? I don't want to talk to you. I'm above you all.
Beardy's not
Yeah,
feeling it.
Doesn't seem like a cool dude.
It's a
No,
cool
he wouldn't
card
survive
design,
very
but when
long
you've
in
got
Game of
like
Thrones, for
the
example.
Oh,
whatever it's
totally not,
called,
totally not.
4
Totally
power,
not.
5
It's
provisions,
weird
gain a
for
coin.
sure. Well, someone has
Is
to
this
do
really
it.
worth it for 2 more
Plus,
provisions?
I'm not a big fan of Firesworn. We have the Lonely Champion, who is quite interesting.
Immunity?
Especially his art, but he has immunity, so that goes for him. Deploy.
Bro, this
destroy all
card's
Firesworn
sick.
Tokens in this road and boost self by the sum of their power. And for me,
Yo.
this seems like crazy card.
Jeez, this is a
And I
sick
love
card,
the
man.
art, I love
What?
the vibe, but Ryan, let's get to the mechanics of this.
Yeah. There has a certain praise the sun vibe,
They kept this
Oh,
one quiet.
totally. Yes.
but the effect is really crazy. I mean, destroy all Firesworn tokens in this row and then boost. This is a really tricky card, and it's also a rare card, so you can have multiple of these.
I
in your
like it.
deck and play around the row limit very effectively. So
Yeah, man. Why not?
I think it does play into cards like Igni or
That makes
Scorch.
all those other cards we've been looking at like
but,
suddenly better, right? That can
Oh,
spawn.
this is great because you can really
Igni,
combo
Eredin,
with
Scorch.
these, all of these spawn
4
cards
power
you've got now.
seems a bit.
Yeah, and you have a lot of spawn cards,
Much,
and you have a lot of
right?
zealots, and you have the footman, which we mentioned previously. So
It's
yeah,
cool,
you
though.
just, drop them on the row, and
It's
pretty
very
much
cool.
Destroy
Because you gotta destroy them all, you can't destroy a few, right? I like this card, man. This is a really cool design.
Also,
So obviously it plays
more
around the
like
row
a
limit.
monster thing, right? To consume
Yeah.
the power of your allies, but this one is really rough. So
This is nuts, though. Like, it is nuts.
These are a little bit weird in the head.
If it's a gold card, you'd be like, okay, cool.
Champion, so he comes out victorious.
Don't know why it's got
above
armor,
Everyone else, so he just pretty much goes in.
but that adds a
goes,
lot
and
to a
he's like, "Here I
Firesworn decks,
am.
right?
All of you peasants can go away.
Chat reckons this is getting nerfed.
I'm the one that rules. Yeah, Drummond. And she has Veil again, so the anti-status status. She has Zeal, Order, Melee, split 3 damage randomly between enemy units on a row. At the end of your turn, if Order is not used, damage a random enemy unit.
Right,
One.
so it looks like every faction's getting this
I
sort
think
of a
that's an
card.
interesting card as well. Especially because she also has the warrior tag.
Pretty similar to the last one. Seems pretty bad.
We saw that Skellige is fleshing out this warrior archetype a bit more, which I really like. And
a superb
it's another one of these.
Thanks for following, Ninja.
Well,
I mean,
sort of engine reaction.
I guess
cards
Greatsword's
where you can,
got
choose when to specifically use your order. You can hold on to it.
A lot of stuff that needs to get removed.
Yeah.
So like with Harold and then this next to it, like, are you gonna hit Harold? Are you gonna get this? Or are you gonna go for Harold, right? So
quite the epic card.
Yeah, the card that now that you mention it, I look.
Seems like every faction's gonna have one of these kind of cards, then with like a veil and.
See the warships in the
It's an interesting card design. I'm not sure if it's very good. It is an amazing art, yo. The boats here, that is a. I didn't even clock the boats. I can't wait to see the premium, man.
Yeah, it's really cool. And
I do like the card design. I'm not sure how good it is though.
In the first,
one of my favorite Skellige card art. So
actually, just show the Drummond Berserker at the end of your turn. Damage self and a random enemy unit by 1. Berserk 2, transform into a bear abomination.
What does Berserk do again?
Yeah,
if it's cool. If it's 2 damage,
this is
and
really
if your
cool.
turn damage self,
for myself, I get a lot
and a
of
random
vibes
enemy
with this
unit by 1.
Yeah.
When it's
Doesn't matter
Berserk
if
2,
it's,
it turns into a
Boromir
bear
taking
abomination.
A lot of arrows, or,
is that the
the
6
one
strength?
Urukai that
Is this
actually
good?
piece
Oh, a random
in,
enemy unit. Oh,
your deck.
jeez. I was reading
I'm
like
just
as if
wondering
it's
how
friendly.
this is
Yeah, this
actually
card's
still
great.
standing, and it's actually interesting because he has 1 arrow like hitting him in the butt.
This card's really good.
Which is interesting.
Cool card.
But yeah, I'm just surprised the guy is still standing. And he looks mad and he looks fine. So I guess yeah.
If you compare it to like a light long ship and like the other ships, it's like it's going to increase deck diversity. It's a cool card rather than just playing ships all the time. This gives you another option, right? This is like a 5 provision card, what it should be. It's a cool design. There's a reason to include it over 4 provision cards. I like it, man.
New, because we haven't had kind of knows if they played Gwent for some time, and it's actually Eredin Break Glass or Break Glass, which has deploy, spawn, frost, and
yes, lad.
For 2 turns. Dominance, increase damage dealt by frost by 1. And we should actually stop here and talk about frost itself and fog probably too. Right?
Yeah, I did have a conversation with the developers, and they explained to me that they swapped something around because obviously frost is very for Eredin, the Wild Hunt in general, and they also rely on the dominance effect, as you can see right here. So to combine these 2 things,
this isn't the evolving card.
To have the old fog effect of
great shout.
The highest unit on the row.
Frost now does top units, fog
frost
bottom.
This effect. So frost
so much
hits
sense.
The highest now, and fog actually hits the lowest. So I think at the start it might get might need some getting used to, but I think people will get their hand quickly.
Yeah,
and it will be a nice synergistic
frost, man. This is what Gwent started with me playing Eredin.
Totally agreed.
Frost decks, man. So
I think a lot
love
of
it.
Players will be happy that some of the previous leader
Eredin, man, with frost, yes please. I love a bit of weather. It makes the board and the game look so much better, man. Weather looks so good in this game.
And like you said, this is something that.
So frost on any row for 2 turns, but also if you've got dominance, increased damage dealt by frost by 1, so all frost. Nice.
Another example, which is Red Riders.
This monsters.
So this card has choose 1. Spawn frost on enemy row for 4 turns.
Sick.
Spawn frost on both enemy rows for 2
Sick.
turns. So you get to choose here what you actually want to do.
The Red Rider.
This is 8 points, by the way.
Wild Hunt.
Yes, lads.
Special, obviously, but it's
frost.
Tag.
I'm gassed.
And I like
to finish off because we have one more card, and we actually have a card from my favorite faction, which is Scoia'tael.
Come on, where's the Northern Realms, man?
If you look at the current reveals, like we started with Nilfgaard. What was after that, if I remember correctly? Syndicate was next, and then we had Skellige, and now we
saving
have
the best till last,
monsters, which we just kind of announced, and then we have Northern Realms, and the last one will be, of course, my favorite faction, which is Scoia'tael. But we actually have one Scoia'tael card.
We're not saving the best till last, then.
For,
I'll take it back.
Having this one so we can show it on this video. And these are Forest Protectors. So Forest Protector has deploy, and on deploy play a Bronze Nature from your graveyard. 5
cool,
power,
man.
11 provision card. And
Thunder.
looks like a
Flexible card, right?
like
Very cool.
Am I right?
Tempering.
Yeah, he's got the trend category, definitely. And
I think what else?
Also, a nice combo card. Obviously,
the main two,
depends
right?
on
Nature's
the value
Rebuke
of
and
your
Tempering.
nature cards, your bronze nature cards in your
The
deck,
Purify
and
one.
especially in your graveyard.
Caress, that's the one, yeah.
But I mean, with 5 power, 11 provision, that's 6 provision basically. You have to.
And if it's Trent, yeah, it is. So Nature's Rebuke, that's a very good point. This plays for 12 points with Nature's Rebuke if you kill the unit. That's a really cool card, man.
Excited for.
That's a great point, Artrez.
Skytel to have even
this is a
more
cool
good
card,
gold
man.
Cards.
Oh yes,
this is going straight into old Gordo decks. I love it. Big fan.
Spoiling anything, but that one.
Okay, so we got this guy. This card's good, I would say. Hoard 5. So if you've got 5 coins, it's gonna spawn Zealot, and you can spend a coin to transform each Zealot into Flame Rose. So if you spend 1 coin, it's guaranteed on its first turn to be worth, what, 7 points? Correct? And obviously it demands an answer. Obviously you could use the feed. This card's good, right? This is a good card. I don't think there's much more to say about this card. There's a very similar card, actually, in Syndicate already that they've revealed. I will try and find it. One of the bronze cards has a similar ability. Is it this one? So yeah, you can spend 1 coin here to transform. So you've already got like a bronze version of this. So I think it's good though. If you're going to play like with coins, it makes sense to use this, right? It demands an answer. But a few big cards. Now this one,
After him,
Roderick, he really does look like me, huh? Jeez. He's got Veil, and it seems like there's a very similar Skellige version of this card as well, right, which we'll come on to just here. So they're both 4 power, 1 armor, 7 provisions, and they've both got Veil, and they're both melee locked, and they've both got Zeal, and they've both got an Order. And if you use the Order, then they don't get like their little bonus. Thanks for following, Verona. So this one spawns a Flaming Rose Footman in the row at the end of your turn. But if you don't use the Order, you gain a coin. Oh no, at the end of your turn, if Order's not used, gain 1 coin. Right, so you can gain a coin each turn. I think this card's bad, to be honest. Same with this card, honestly. I'm pretty sure this card's bad as well. Like, they can only get removed. The fact they've got Veil is important. That is very true. Equally though, Amnesty's not that difficult to set up on this card. Obviously, both these factions though do have quite a lot of cards you want to remove. And so they could be good because they've got Veil, right? That is important to remember. But they are in range of Thunder. But it's going to be interesting. It really depends on how good Veil is, right? These cards will be used potentially in decks with with lots of cards that need to be removed. But equally, it's important to remember the evolving cards, which do synergize with both these cards quite a lot, also have Veil, and they're 6 power. So are you really going to be able to sink your 5 removal into these cards? Not necessarily. I think they're actually all right. I think in Devotion decks, they could prove to be pretty good, if not spectacular. But I like this card. I like these cards, man. I think they're cool designs. And I think in Devotion lists, with Veil, the fact that obviously the evolving cards have got Veil, I think they're pretty cool, actually, because I'm assuming each one's going to accompany the evolving card. So that's pretty cool, man. I like this card quite a lot. At first, maybe not. This is the really interesting one, right? So essentially, the idea is, if you've got a full row, or you've got 8 cards, because you wouldn't be able to put it, so you can have 8 Firesworn Zealots in a row, or Firesworn, whatever this other one is, Firesworn, the 3 power version, right? The Footman. Then you can put this on the row, and it's going to basically consume them. So it's like a big Ozeril, or like a big Karen, like a Mega Karen. It's immune. It's got random 2 armor as well, 4 power. But equally, it's important to remember this is just 4 tempo, right? This is a 4 tempo play. It's obviously immune and it's very scary. But damn, this is cool, man. Like, do you not think this is like what we want in 4 provision cards? Like, it's a really cool design. It's not a point Sam card. It's like a really cool, interesting card. I really like it. Obviously, it's susceptible to Eredin and Igni. Like, you just get wrecked by them with this card. Scorch as well. So really, really cool card, man. I love this. It's also just you're gonna have to judge how greedy you go, because with cards like that are spawning loads, I think it's Helvede. You could use Helvede, plonk this down next turn, then continue with Helveed and fill the rest of the row up. So it's adding a lot of points, but obviously you're super susceptible, not just now to row punishment, but also to tool removal. So really, really cool, man. I love this card. I think this is one of my favourite card designs I've seen. And like I say, I think the card design overall of this expansion has been phenomenal. Really amazing. With the exception of Amnesty, which is, you know, my least favourite card in the world, and it's not even out yet. But we'll hopefully it's not as bad as I'm thinking it'll be, right? Okay, next up, another really damn cool card. If you think in Skellige at the moment, you're always playing ships, right? This is an alternative to going down that route. Because at the end of your turn, it's going to damage itself and a random enemy unit by 1. So it's playing for 5 tempo, just like a ship would. But once it hits 2 strength, it's going to transform into a bear, which is a 6 power. So it's potentially playing for 10 points with no other synergy, right? 4 random removal and then 6 body if you use it correctly. Of course, it can be removed quite easily though, because when it's at 3 strength, it could be again amnestied, maybe swearsed, etc. So it's definitely susceptible. Really, really cool card. Fallerboard. I love this card though. Really nice design. Just again, hopefully gonna add to some variety to the deck building section and not just picking ships every time. Love this card. Really cool. And I like the idea of it turning into a bear abomination. That is wicked. Next up, right? Let's crunch the numbers. 10 provisions, 5 power. Deploy Spawn Frost on an enemy row for 2 turns. Right? So it's just Spawn of Frost. Which, if you compare this to Avalak obviously sees some play in some decks for 2 less power without this dominance tag either. So Frost has now changed with Fog. So what Frost is now going to do, it's going to damage the tallest units by 2. So if you think how Fog works, it is Fog, current Fog. It's going to damage the top units by 2, which is obviously helping you get this dominance. But you're also increasing damage dealt by Frost by 1. And there's obviously another card we've seen with Frost, and there's probably going to be some Frost synergies. The old Cave Trolls or Ice Trolls used to do some really cool stuff with Frost. So maybe that's going to make a little comeback because that's an underused card. That would make perfect sense if that gets some sort of rework. It used to dual cards and it would deal double damage under Frost. I used to love that card. So yeah, this will increase the damage of all Frost while you've got dominance and while this is alive. So if you've got a Frost down on 1 row already, this is going to make that add a point to that. Possibly 2 or 3, right, depending on how long that's going. So really cool card, man. So essentially it's playing for, well, Frost plays for 8 points. So it's 13 points, not even considering the dominance. So if you're adding the dominance on, it's playing for, 15 points, plus the rest of this. And there might be some more Wild Hunt synergy. This is wicked. And it would, yeah, I think you're right. It possibly would increase Frost on your side as well. That is an interesting point. Up next, it's only for 2 turns. Oh, it is 2 turns, you're right, yeah. Okay, so it's not a 4-turn Frost. Right, okay, so yeah, Avalak would play it for 4 turns, this would play it for 2 turns. Okay, interesting. That makes it a lot worse, but it's still very good, I think. Obviously, it just depends on the rest of the stuff. I imagine there's going to be lots of ways of playing Frost, right? I mean, this is a bronze card already. 6 provisions, you've got 2 of these. And you can spawn stuff for 4 turns, which is really, really nice. Or on both rows. Love this card. Really cool card, man. So Eredin essentially adds, 4 points to this as well. Really cool. I love this, man, that we're getting Frost. I think there's going to be lots of Frost synergies. It's hard to evaluate this card. But also, a big problem with Avalak is it's less tempo because Avalak plays for 3. But also, like, you need to use it at a certain time, whereas this is like you only need 2 turns for this to see value. And obviously, you're helping achieve dominance. Big fan. And the final one, I believe. This is a really cool card, man. Graveyard interaction. It's going to help these Spellitel decks. Obviously, we've got that symbiosis keyword. That is, whenever you play a nature card, it's going to do what exactly? Whenever you play a nature card, it's going to spawn a Wandering Trent with the amount of symbiosis tags. So it's got that symbiosis and Wandering Trent synergy, which is really cool to add on top of this. Also, the fact if you play a Nature's Rebuke and you kill the unit, it's going to buff this to 7. It's essentially a good way of replacing Triss, right? Someone in chat's mentioned. It's a square tail Triss is sort of a way of looking at it. Kator was mentioned. It's going to be nice for the Harold Gord list. Really cool card, man. And it's quite a lot of power as well. It's a big tempo play. And also it's important to remember, you can use this round 1 because you can play a Nature's Rebuke and that's going in your graveyard. It's not like something you're going to have to rely on only using around 3. You can be able to use this round 1, 2 or 3. So really cool card, man. Big fan. So essentially what they've done with this expansion, they've brought Spies back. They've brought Spelletel back. Although obviously we saw a little bit of a comeback with the Dwarfs. They've brought Veteran back. They've brought Wild Hunt Frost back. So we've still got what have I forgotten? Oh, they've added the Swarm, which is new for Syndicate. So we're just waiting on Northern Realms. In my opinion, they're going to be bringing Siege Pockets back because they already had that push with Warfare cards. So I'm fully expecting Siege Pockets, that kind of vibe, Siege Engines. Yeah. Cool.